And for what? 40, $50, you got a few different ways to go with
Yeah.
that, or to try to use them all. You don't have to use them all at the same time. They all kind of overlap, but they
Yeah.
all have their own little application for that. And obviously the foam roller and the shot massage gun to an extent, but the foam roller would be my pick if you didn't have anybody to assist you
Mm.
with the recovery device. Hey everyone, welcome to the Big Fitness Show, episode 57. Wow, take one. I shouldn't say that because then we got to do another take. But my name is Big Stevie Cole. Today we are going to talk about recovery as a man over 50, and also Big Mike Burns, my co-host, as a man under 30. Did I get that right? Did I get it right?
Over 40,
Oh,
yes.
sorry.
I don't think I could pass for under 40 anymore.
It's those youthful eyes you have right there. I have a lantern softbox making me like, oh God, I'm ready for the eclipse. So how are you doing, Mike? Today we're going to talk about recovery. And I feel like we have done this episode obviously before, but we both, I think, feel or believe that now we can really narrow it down and share our experience of equipment we use, protocols, things that work and don't work, especially as you age over 40 and now over 50 as well. I think this new twist should help narrow down our experience instead of giving very general type of recovery tips.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And the older we get, the more recovery becomes important. You know, think about it. 10, 20 years ago, we felt great, like unstoppable. If we were in our 20s and 30s, we didn't care about recovery. It was just burn the candle at both ends and never stop. Right. And now I definitely feel a lot different in my 40s than I did in my early 30s. And it's the recovery stuff has begrudgingly become more important every single day. And I know for you, recovery is a big deal. And so we're going to talk about it and some of the things that we do and some of the tools that we use. And it can be very pointed and hopefully help you guys listen and help you figure out how you can be recovery. But I think we start off and stress just how important recovery is, because people like the world we live in, I feel like it's go, 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 go. If you're not hustling, you're not trying. You got to just this hustle culture idea, and you don't ever take the time to rest and recover and fix yourself and build back up. It's so important that you do that you like.
By the way, we're absolute hypocrites when it comes to this.
Yes.
That's what you're about
Let's
to
address
say.
the elephant in the room first.
Yeah, we don't do any of this stuff enough.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. I mean, I feel like we're both guilty of just pushing and never giving ourselves a break until it's time to break. But some of the things that we do in between help mitigate those recovery issues, so that we can go a little bit longer, a little bit harder in what we're pushing for,
Yeah. Well, I would say, I felt pretty unstoppable. And now at 52, I feel very easily stoppable. So anybody could probably step up to me. It's a pretty easy game right now to play. But yeah, I mean, that's one thing. Like we talk, we have great talks before and after these episodes. I'll just keep people a little bit of a look into our talk. You're going to have an amazing day. You woke up, I'm sure you worked out. Now we're doing the Big Fitness Show. Then you're going to be all over the place doing super positive, productive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we have these talks where, like yesterday, I did 3 videos in the morning. I was done. And then by 1 or 2 p.m., I sat on the chair and I said, I haven't felt like I've done a damn thing all day. where I worked out, put in a full day of work, got it all done within a few hours. And that was the time for me to rest, recover, get some fresh air, go outside, ride a bike, do something fun, whatever, go into the hot tub, any of that stuff. But all I did was sit around all afternoon going, I should be doing something. I have to be doing something. So it's like, it's as much mental and emotional, dare I say, spiritual than physical with us as well.
Yeah, no, that's true. And making a point, like most of my days, to reference what you said, that my days don't usually have this where I'm going to be on the road today. I've spent a lot more of my time at home lately, and today I'm going to be on the road, on the go all day long, and I will feel it tomorrow because I'm just not used to it. Not that I'm going to be like wiped out or anything, but it's definitely a different. It's a shock to the system of just the normal daily routine. And so when you have days like that where you're super busy, you have to build in some type of recovery in between. You have to build in some type of recovery the next day. And if you continue without having that recovery, you're just going to be wiped out, and then you're going to be forced to recover because your body's going to shut down, or you're going to splurge on your diet, or you're going to fall short on your workouts, or your whatever's going to happen because you didn't plan ahead enough to get that recovery in. So the recovery piece of this, it, you know, people talk about working out, and obviously we talk about working out a lot, and there's all these cool things you can do to perform better, but the gains actually happen when you're recovering. The gains don't happen in the gym, so to speak. When you're working out and you're lifting weights, you're tearing your muscles down and you're beating them up and you're priming them for growth, which is awesome. But the actual growth happens while you're resting and when your body has a chance to recover. And, the most important piece of it is sleep and making sure your body has time to rest and recover and rebuild. And that's what happens overnight. Your body starts to regenerate. That's when you wake up in the morning and you feel better. You feel like you're tighter. You feel like your belly's smaller because you woke up in the morning. You just feel like your body has rejuvenated itself. And so that's where people fall so short sometimes of getting an adequate amount of sleep for your body to recover. And I'm probably the most guilty one. I was up till 11, almost 11:30 last night, and I was up at 5 o'clock this morning. So that's not a much time to sleep, but I felt it a little bit waking up. I was a little bit groggy, not too bad. But if I do that consistently for days and days and days on end, I'm going to have to hit the reset button at some point. So to me, the recovery part of it and sleeping is the most important thing. We're going to talk about some of the equipment and some of the things that we do, but recovery, sleep is the foundation of recovery, in my opinion. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the two best ways to recover is rest slash sleep, and of course your nutrition, because
Yeah.
you need that fuel to recover, but
Yep.
you also need the fuel to be able to work out the next day. So, in other words, your body, if you don't feed it the right macros, if you don't feed it the right amount of calories, if you don't eat enough, people talk about dieting. I think starving yourself is so much worse than eating anything.
Mhm.
Like I tell people, like we've been on the road, like there's times where you got to stop and you have to have a burger, you have to have something. And it's
Yeah.
much better than saying, well, I'll just starve myself until the next day, especially after a wrestling match. You need something, it
Sure.
just, so I would say that too. But as far as rest and recovery and sleep, yeah, I mean, there's no better feeling and there's no worse fit. There's no better feeling than getting a good night's sleep. And there's no worse feeling than not having one and then
Mhm.
needing to perform the
Sure.
next day and the day after. And you just said that's what you go through. Um, but I would talk about this. Maybe we start with sleep and
Mhm.
not so much maybe some sleep habits, but also we'll talk about some other products and supplementations. Did you have the CrossFit Guide to Supplements, which obviously you're going to need recovery when you do a
Mhm.
CrossFit workout. So like let's talk maybe about sleep. Then we can talk about some of the supplements we take off of that to add
Mm.
into our nutrition. And
Sure.
then the last thing we can talk about is maybe actual products, brands, equipment that we prefer to use in our recovery. I'll let you go with sleep. And I mean, what do you do usually when you can? You have kids and you also have some situations where you need to get up in the middle of the night. So
Yeah.
it's not perfect. So I think you should speak to more people out there, especially that have a family, about
Mm.
how you navigate sleep to get enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a challenge in in my house because I have three children and the oldest is 10, and then I have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. And there's now it's getting better, but frequently it's way less frequent now. But for the first 4.5, 5 years of my oldest daughter's life, literally every single night she got up and I got up with her, and she would sleep in the morning, but I had to get up and go to work and whatever and go about the day. And so I didn't sleep for years because I mean, I slept, right? Like, I'm being dramatic when I say I didn't sleep at all, but it was not unbroken sleep. I had broken sleep sometimes multiple times a night. Sometimes my wife is a type 1 diabetic. And so sometimes her blood sugar will go low in the middle of the night. So then I'm up with her too, because I care about my wife and I want to help and be up with her and whatever. And so there's plenty of times where my sleep gets broken and I feel it. And I try to mitigate that as much as I can. And it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing in that my sleep's broken and it's not straight through the night, but I try to get back to sleep quickly. And one thing that I'll do when I'm sleeping is I prioritize. Lately, I've really focused on putting my phone down before I go to bed and just laying in the bed and relaxing and letting my brain shut off, not feeding my mind with more information, not scrolling on anything, and giving myself that reprieve from technology, from whatever, before I go to sleep so I can actually sleep. And then making sure that I'm aware of how things are happening in my sleep schedule and having an idea of, okay, well, I didn't sleep tonight, but I need to prioritize the next night trying to get to sleep and trying to get the kids to sleep and helping the kids get into a nightly routine so that they can get to bed at a decent time. So then I can get to bed at a decent time. Can prove to be a challenge a lot. And I get it. And for all the dads out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like it's hard sometimes. And then you got to get up with them in the morning and you got to get ready for the day. And that's the routine that you have. And you got to try to find some time for yourself. So it's a pain in the ass sometimes, if I'm being honest. Like I can't stand it. Some mornings I don't want to get out of bed and some mornings I don't. Some mornings I do, but some mornings I stay in bed and normally I'll try to get up at 5:00. But there's some mornings where I'm crawling out of bed at 6:30 because I'm just exhausted and I stayed up too late the night before or was up in the middle of the night with the kids for whatever reason or whatever. Right. So those days are important, but then it's the follow up with the next day, making sure that I'm drinking enough water, getting my nutrition, making sure that I'm not feeding my body with junk so that I can actually recover throughout the day too. And then be primed for better sleep, better recovery the night before so that those random nights don't totally screw up my body, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a challenge. I mean, you still wrestle, but you wrestled for many years. And we were talking about when you were doing extra work at WWE, even those trips as you get older and you're over 40
sure.
now, and you come back late and your schedule's off, you're eating and everything. Cause those days are very unpredictable and very, very long and include driving, traveling. Sometimes when you wrestled, you stay in a hotel room. If you get on a plane, all these factors, at least throughout my career, I suffered and I probably still suffer from adrenal fatigue.
Sure.
From being at different times almost every day, hotel, car, arena, this and that, not even and staying on my diet. It didn't matter. Trying to get sleep and trying to get up early and still work out. I tried to stay on that schedule even when I wrestled, and it just kills you. The adrenal fatigue from traveling years and years and years. And that's something on my end, the children, the family thing, would probably be a welcome reprieve compared to, the other unpredictable stuff, because I suffered from big bouts of insomnia to the point where now I've kind of like gotten out of my own head about, drugs and stuff and started taking CBD or more specifically CBN for sleep. And that has kept me asleep because it used to be I'd go to bed, we go to bed early, we unwind, we watch whatever, just, no more 9/11 documentaries or anything. It's mostly like laid back stuff. But without hesitation, I would wake up anywhere between 12:30 and 1:30 a.m. and not be able to go back to sleep. So maybe, this is like 15 minutes before the alarm goes off. Then you're like, oh, I'm ready. But then there'll be times where I'll be like, I'm getting up and working out at 1 a.m. and trying to tire myself out, which will throw your entire I can't never pronounce it right. Circadian rhythm. Did I get that right?
Circadian rhythm. Yeah.
I did. My Philly accent. But that's a very important part of, when you work out, when you get up, how long you sleep, where your body is optimally rested. And just going back, and I'll talk about it again at the end, the CBD, or more specifically, like I said, CBN, with just a little THC, has made all the difference in the world. Now, I don't have a job where I'm drug tested.
Sure.
People that do the THC will get you popped in a drug test. But for me, I thank God that, as a matter of fact, the they have a 420 sale going on. I just ordered a bunch more because it's worth it to me rather than I used to take melatonin, valerian root, all this stuff, chamomile tea, like a whole concoction of all these different things that wouldn't work. But
Yeah.
one little gummy, and I still have my teas and stuff to unwind. One
Yeah.
little gummy has made all the difference in the world. But proper sleep.
Yeah. No, that's huge. And for you, like you go to bed early and get up early. So you need to optimize the sleep that you have. Because what time, tell the people what time do you normally get up now every day?
Well, we get, you know what? And this is how I've changed and relaxed. We talked off camera about how I'm still carrying undue stress on myself, which
Sure.
both of us do. Uh, we start getting ready around 6, maybe 6:15 p.m. You know, so
Mm.
right now the sun's not even down when we
Yeah.
start,
Yeah.
but we unwind and we do our marriage devotional, you know, first and foremost, you know,
Yeah.
when we get into bed, then, you know, put on usually now no more 9/11 conspiracy documentaries, but
Yeah.
maybe once in a while. It
Sure.
was the Dark Knight too, which,
Yeah.
but now it's like astronomy and space stuff and
Hmm.
like real low key, almost ASMR documentary type stuff with
Got it.
very soothing voiceovers. But we get up at around 3:30. The alarm goes off 3:40. But I'm telling you right now, I used to be like once that hits, I'm out of bed and I used to put my clothes and shoes and socks on the floor because I would do military style, swing my legs over and start getting ready. And this was
Sure.
and this was on the road with guys like Kane, D'Lo, Charles Robinson. I'd be ready to go in like 3 minutes. Let's go to the gym. Come on, guys. I'd clap my hands, and they'd be. And so you can imagine after about a year of that, I started traveling alone.
Yeah. I bet you did.
So, yeah, absolutely. So
Oh,
yeah,
shoot.
6:15. Usually go to sleep maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8
Mm.
o'clock. Usually wake up at 3:30, 3:40, and my wife and I we snuggle for another 10, 15 minutes, which is the most amazing thing. And
Mm.
we talk. How are you feeling? How did you sleep? What you dream anything? How, today's going to be a great day. What do you want
Yeah.
to work out today? And all, what can I, obviously the first thing we say is we love each other. And
Sure.
that's a very special time. To me, that's almost setting you up for the day. It's almost like
Mm.
another, how can I put it? It feels like another stage of rest slash sleep slash recovery mixed
Sure.
in with the proper kind of setup for the day. I don't know
Yeah.
if that makes sense or not.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I don't know how you do it getting up that early in the morning every day, but going to bed at 8 o'clock, that certainly helps. So it's
I'm also still very competitive.
sure.
So if I can get up before you, sorry, you're still my friend, but I got to beat you, Maven, and everybody else. Because I'm like, if I send them a big part of my day and really setting it up for the people I love, like you,
Yeah.
is sending that morning devotional, that
Right.
the daily thing
Yeah.
to everybody. I send it to a bunch of people, and usually it's like, and there's a part of me, it's like, yeah, when they answer me at 6 o'clock, I was up for like 2.5 hours more.
That's why you do it. Huh?
That's really why I do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wake up to a text from Stevie every day, and I always heart it back, and that's why. Now I know. Now I'm not gonna, because then you won't know when I see it.
Well, I don't think you're sleeping in.
Yeah.
Now, if you send me a devotional first, now I'm going to be so pissed off if that happens. Don't say, I know there's apps that set timers for text. I know about them. I used to have a tech channel.
I'm an hour behind you too. So if you're getting up at 3:30, that means I got to get up at 2:30 to beat
true.
you. And so I'm not going to do that. I love
But
you,
if one of your
but I'm
kids
not gonna
get
do
you up, you'll probably end up doing it. Right?
I will. Next time they wake me up in the
Damn
middle of the night, if it's before you, I've got a text from you, I'll text you.
Man.
All right. So sleep is incredibly important. You got to get enough of it. Like figure out what works for you. 6 hours at a minimum, but the better 7 or 8 would be nice, but I understand life gets in the way. So I shoot for 6 hours when I'm sleeping, and I feel pretty good about that. There's times where I feel like I'll sleep 8 hours on occasion, and I feel groggy the rest of the day. I feel like it's too much for my body, or I woke up at the wrong part of the cycle or whatever. But 6 hours is pretty spot on for me. You know, I try not to do too much less than that, um, because it just my body would shut down over time, and it's getting harder and harder to do go on less sleep. You know, you need more sleep. Your body needs to recover. But the nutrition piece, you said it a while
Can I
back.
say one thing about
Yeah.
it? Just an interesting fact. Let me ask you this: what's the best night of sleep you've ever had? Do you have any recollection of that?
No, no, I
Wow,
don't.
it's been that
Yeah.
long, huh?
Sorry. Leave you hanging on that. Like, I
No.
don't have anything there. I don't remember when I sleep.
Well, I don't recommend you do this, what I've done, but last year I had a little infection,
Oh yeah, sure.
the tiny little infection. Uh, and what happened was I hadn't slept for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then obviously going to the hospitals and doing all that, and then spending a week in the hospital, and then kind of having their, I guess, drug induced sleep that I needed, but it
Mm,
still wasn't a real night of sleep. I was still up every hour. 'Cause nurses came in, they had to check me and do the antibiotics and all that stuff. When I got home from the Mayo Clinic, we got home around 12:30 or so, and then it was a struggle to use the
mhm.
bathroom and do all that stuff. But I didn't even eat anything, Mike. Literally, I said to my wife, I go, I'm just so tired. Can I just lay down for a minute? Sure. Which, by the way, my wife knows any wrestler that said, I'm kind of tired, I want to lay down, who's over 40, that's the danger zone. Cause you're
Oh sure.
never like that's scary, isn't it? Because there's a lot of
Yeah.
wrestlers
Sure.
that have done that and
Sure.
died in their sleep. So like
Sure.
I was very aware of that. And I said, listen, I'm just tired. I want to lay down, put the TV on. Got to bed around 1 p.m. on that day we got home. Dude, I didn't wake up till 10 a.m. the next day.
I remember you telling me that. I do remember
Something
that.
like
Yep.
that. Like I stayed in bed because I still had to recover and I was still not
Sure.
able to really walk. But dude, that was like the best night. I mean, I was out. My wife came in, sat by me, tried to, just checked on me. Cats were walking all over my head and face, chewing on my mustache. They didn't care. I was out. As a matter of fact, she
Uh,
did check on me a few times.
sure.
Like I just told her, it's not even a joke, just to make sure that I didn't die in my sleep. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
she said I had never slept that deep ever
Yeah.
since we've been together.
That's a long time. I've never slept. Man, I can't tell you that I've ever slept longer than 9 hours, 8 hours, maybe. Like, because just never have. So yeah, I don't remember best night of sleep. I can't tell you. Well, like I will say every once in a while, when I was traveling more for work, I would be in a hotel room and I would sleep all night and I would wake up refreshed the next morning because I slept all night, but then that was few and far between because most times when I was in a hotel room, I would still wake up thinking that I heard my kids, it's just one of those deals.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. The nutrition piece of the recovery is just as important as the sleep because if you think about it, your body is recovering overnight. Well, it needs the fuel to recover with. So you need to make sure that you're fueling your body with the things that it needs, getting adequate protein every single day, adequate quality protein every day. So your body can then use that to fuel the recovery process overnight. So those two pieces are the foundation of anything above and beyond what we're going to talk about shortly, right? Like, so we're going to talk about some equipment and some things that we do to help us with recovery, but the sleep and the nutrition, those are the two most important things for recovery. Because if you think about it, let's just use an analogy, try to come up with something real quick. If you're working out every single day and you're destroying your body, and let's say you're beating up your muscles in your workout and you destroy enough of your muscle fibers that you need 30 grams of protein to recover that, right? Like that's not much protein, but let's say that that's all you need, but you only eat 15. So now you're operating in a deficit in the amount of protein that you needed for your recovery. So then what happens is you go from this point of recovery, you dig down the 30 grams that you need, you come back with 15, but then the next day you dig down the 30 grams again, but you come back with 15. And then it's just this continued snowball effect where you dig yourself into a deeper, deeper, deeper hole. And a lot of times I've talked to so many people in the years that I've been in the fitness industry that talk to me about, oh, I just want to recover more. I just want to recover faster. I just want to recover faster. And I'm like, well, what's your diet like? Are you eating enough? And 9 times out of 10, they are not eating enough, even remotely close to enough food every single day to fuel that recovery process. And because it's
I think they were
cool.
asking for something else.
Well, no, these are
Is this a locker
genuine
room?
fitness
Was this a
people.
wrestling
No,
locker?
this is not a wrestling locker room. These are people at the
Hey,
gym.
brother, I
you
need to
know,
recover. Do you got
yeah, right.
anything? Okay. Hey, by the way, I think the scientific term for that is you want to be in an anabolic state as much as possible. And what you're
Yep.
describing is a constant catabolic state.
Yep.
And that's kind of why people used to say, eat protein every 3 hours, because after 3 hours, you start to fall into that negative catabolic state with muscle growth and you start, losing
Right.
muscle and losing whatever. So, yeah, to me, that's definitely eating's the hardest part for me in a way as you get older because over 40, over 50, you find more food sensitivities, especially with the environment we live in today. And then there's certain other things like I'm very, dude, my mother-in-law on Easter, we had lunch and they had dessert and it looked really good. So I had a little bit of it, because we've talked about it.
Yeah.
I have such a sensitivity to sugar. If
Mhm.
I have too much sugar, it triggers a severe migraine, which is good because it keeps you accountable.
Sure.
But sugar can just kill, and then we're telling people about nutrition and eating. Also, time when you eat and what you eat. Because if you're eating a ton of sugar or even fruit or anything at 6 p.m. at night and go to bed at 7,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe some people aren't affected by that, but you really have to time when
Yeah.
you're taking protein, especially carbs, fats, calories, all that stuff. Because if you eat a big meal right before bed, I don't know if I can't do it. Can you do that? Like
Yeah,
a
I don't
soup.
really have
I mean, right
unless it's
before. I'm not talking about 3 hours. I'm talking
yeah,
about like when I get something to eat. Like if we're traveling, eating
yeah.
right as you bring the stuff into the hotel room and then you lay in the hotel bed. How crappy do you feel? Oh,
I can get away with it if it is prioritized with protein and vegetables. Like I could eat protein and vegetables all day and it doesn't affect me at all. And then I can get away with fruit too. But if I have a carb heavy meal before bed or carb heavy anything or like a sweet before bed, I definitely don't sleep good. Because in my body, I just don't feel good. I feel hot all night because my body's just processing all those carbs and I don't feel good if I do that prior, like too close to bedtime. So I try to eat and not eat anything a couple hours before bed to make sure that I'm getting adequate time to digest and not feel crappy. So, yeah, sorry.
there you go. Got it.
Okay,
You
so
know,
let's talk
let's
about some of the equipment that we use for recovery. What is your go-to for recovery? What do you use? Give me some of the things that you use for recovery.
I think, well, I'm going to show you this right here. Remember?
Yeah, yeah, right. There it is.
Cupping.
Yeah.
That's not my go-to. That's my wife has to tackle me, has to, the hip drop tackle has not been banned like in the NFL. It's legal here in the home. But I would say, I mean, this helped immensely with the tension and everything. But I think maybe the gateway recovery device for everybody out there, and you can go to Amazon and get it very cheap, would be a massage gun.
Yeah.
Massage gun number one for
Yep.
anybody. I mean, you can get one for like what I'm looking right now, under $50. Yeah,
All
you got
right.
that Hypervolt, but there's so many generic versions.
Yeah.
That's the original one, but
Yeah.
you have so many generic Amazon versions for like $49 maybe. Maybe if you were a
Mhm.
really good one, 99. But I'm
Yeah.
telling you, you're going to use it before, maybe during, and definitely after your workouts. That's
Yeah.
what number one thing I would recommend. What about you?
Yeah, massage gun. I would recommend something different, but the same concept. I would start with a foam roller and just use a foam roller and use it because those are way cheaper. The massage gun is great because it does some of the work for you and it helps and it gets in a little bit deeper, but they're a higher cost. And the cheap ones, I've only got two experiences. My parents got a cheap one, and I'm talking cheap, like 20, $25, and it does not compare to the power of the Hypervolt. The Hypervolt is I mean, I think it was $300 when I bought it. And so but this sucker has so much power and it feels so good. It's got different attachments for the head of it. You can change it out. The one that my parents got was $25 and it was like there was no power to it at all. But the foam roller can mimic the same thing that you're doing. So just get there's different density, like what's the
Like
hardnesses of
I
the.
got like the rumble roller or the regular ones that have kind of the smoother things.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of those would be great because there's so much you can do to roll out. I use a foam roller all the time after sitting in a chair, sitting in a car, because my hips lock up and it helps roll it out. So I'll roll out my kind of my butt into my hamstrings, and that releases some of the hip pain. So for me, I would start with a foam roller, but the massage gun is a great one too, because they're doing the same thing. It's just doing them a little bit differently. So a foam roller, to me, man, everybody should have a foam roller, and you can use it. You can get one of the big ones, one of the little ones, whatever it is. Those are awesome.
And you'll absolutely curse like when you start
Oh
using
yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, so with the foam rolling, for those of you listening that aren't familiar with what foam rolling does, is it rolls off the muscle tissue and helps relieve and release some of the tension that's in those muscles. So if you do a workout, think about that soreness that is there a couple days after the workout. Foam rolling is going to help break some of that up. So if you do that after the workout, the day after the workout, and you start to roll, you're going to release some of that lactic acid buildup that's in there, and relieve some of the tension so that you can recover faster. So those muscles can rebuild faster and reduce some of that inflammation in there. And it just, they're awesome. And there's so many things too, from a pain management perspective, that if you live in pain every day, a foam roller might be able to fix a lot of it, because there's a lot that you can do with foam rolling to adjust your muscles and help your body recover, get back in proper positions, and work through a lot of stuff. The massage gun definitely helps with that, because you can dig in some places too. So yeah, to me, the recovery tools that you need, a foam roller would be huge for people.
I think the theme for this too, but a lot of different recovery methods and devices is for you to be more comfortable after you do it, you're going to be
Mhm.
very uncomfortable while it's going on. So it's
Totally.
if it feels horrible and it's a spot you want to get off of when you're talking about foam rolling, you got to
Yeah.
stay there. That's
Yeah.
exactly where you need to stay. So what else would you what other products would you say? So foam roller is probably the entry level one, cheapest one,
Mhm.
most affordable, but also effective, analog, no power, don't need to charge it. Massage guns would be an easier do it for you type
Mhm.
scenario, more expensive, obviously not off grid. You got to charge it. There are some additional electrical
Right.
costs with that.
Sure.
So
Sure.
what else would you say?
Next one I would do is a lacrosse ball. This is cheaper than a foam roller, but it's not as multi-purpose as a foam roller. And so if you have a foam roller, you can obviously roll out so many different areas at once. But this lacrosse ball, man, it has saved me so much pain, because you can use it to roll out your neck. You can use it here. I'll get it on a wall and like roll out the neck on the wall and use the ball. And then you can use the ball to dig into certain areas. If you got shoulder pain, you can use it to roll around. So for me, those are two really cheap ways to get some recovery tools. And it's the same concept. You're doing the same thing as you would with a massage gun, because you've got the point of the massage gun, but you got the ball here, and it's just, you can control it differently. You can use it to dig into different areas of your body. I use it on my low back a lot, specifically my neck a lot, my traps a lot, because I have a lot of pain there. And it helps relieve the knots and things. So this would be my next, a lacrosse ball. What about you?
I would say to go with that, gua sha, because you're talking about on your neck and everything. It's actually literally a scraper. So
Oh yeah,
leopard claw is like the metal version I have
yeah.
that's curved, but you go to Amazon and get these little emerald looking like stone ones that are, it's called
Mm,
gua sha. You combine
Guasha.
that with what you saw a few minutes ago, the cupping, and
Yeah,
the gua sha, maybe it was like $10 on Amazon. It's shaped like a little like a puzzle piece,
yeah.
and you grip it and you did. My wife used it yesterday on me, and then the cupping thing we got off Amazon was a full. It's a knockoff. It's in a big box, different sizes. Got the little pump, to bring up the skin. That was like 25 bucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can get a gua sha. I don't see the price. It's
Well,
small.
here's
It's
one
yeah,
for
like $10, right? eight
yeah.
bucks.
It's yep, super cheap.
So these are all things you could buy a foam roller, you can have a lacrosse or a tennis ball, you can buy the gua sha, you can buy the cups. And for what, 40, $50, you got a few different ways to go with
Yeah.
that, or to try to use them all. You don't have to use them all at the same time. They all kind of overlap, but they
Yeah.
all have their own little application for that. And obviously the foam roller and the shot massage gun to an extent, but the foam roller would be my pick if you didn't have anybody to assist you
Mm.
with the recovery device. The other
Yeah.
ones require a little bit of, in certain spots, a little bit of help, and the cupping definitely in certain spots you're going to need somebody to do that for you.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I don't like about the massage gun is like in my traps are the place where I have the most pain. And it's cool to see if I can do this differently here so people can see. So it's cool to do it like this, but if I've got trap pain, I either have to reach all the way around and do it this way,
And your other
which is
trap is
just
hurting.
which is just a pain, or I'm here and then the trap is not relaxed because I got to have the shoulder up all the time. So that, like, if I'm doing my legs and I'm massaging my legs, it's no problem. Or if I'm doing a shoulder, it's pretty easy. But to get this specific spot and to do my neck, it's like it's tense, and then I'm trying to massage something that's tense, and it's so that's where like the crossball comes in handy because I'll position that behind my trap and then get up against a wall and just kind of move it around, and that seems to work a little bit better when it comes to getting things worked out in my traps specifically. So
Cool. Yeah, we're back. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. So, but yeah, so those are some great tools, and they're cheap, they're easy to use. Another thing that I would say is there's these things called floss bands. Voodoo floss bands is what they're called, and they're like a elastic band that you wrap around your body, and like so you'll take your elbow here. I'm gonna go back to the widescreen shot again. Take your elbow and you'll wrap them around, and then you'll leave them on there, get them real tight so that the blood flow is there, and then you kind of work through some of the joint pain. It helps with the target some of the inflammation, target some of the pressure, and then when you take the band off, it's like a release, and so it's like trigger point therapy almost, where you're massaging this certain point and you push on it as hard as you can and try to release the knot that's there. It kind of is the same idea with the floss bands, and it relieves some of the pressure that's happening in that joint or wherever you do it.
I haven't heard of that. Is that kind of like blood flow restriction training? Like
A little
occlusion
bit,
training?
yeah. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's doing it in a way for recovery that works pretty well. So like here's some Amazon, they just you wrap them up. It's just a band that you wrap around your body, but then it's like this, and then it squeezes the pressure of it, and it helps. I mean, I've noticed pain reduction. It brings some of the inflammation down that's happening there, and it just kind of relieves some of the joint pain and warms up the area a little bit too. So
it's more like a hip band without being closed. That you wrap it.
yes, yeah,
Like it's
exactly.
like those hip resistance bands, kind of ones
Yep.
you put on in between.
Yeah.
I don't use those either.
Yeah, I mean that's a good recovery tool. And then another one. Have you ever used a power dot or a one of those?
Oh yeah,
electro
yeah. I've
things?
used those. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
used those. I had the what was it called? It was the blue one that had the one that wrapped around. It wasn't just a power dot with the pad. There was
Oh, the Mark Pro, I think it was.
something like that, but the battery died after like a month. Customer
really?
service kind of sucked. But I liked using it. It was
Sure.
like more like a red light therapy type thing that
Mm.
worked. But they had different ones. They had ones to massage, and then I had a red light therapy through Flex Beam, I think it was.
Mm.
The battery, you got to remember that some of these things with the batteries, man,
Yeah.
end up with a defect, and then the customer service can be kind of like less than stellar. So, yeah, I've tried it. We can talk about red light therapy. That's a very polarizing topic for a future episode.
Well,
just-
that's one that I don't know much about that I want to try at some point and see if it works, see what it does, anything, because I just don't know
yeah,
much about it.
I haven't stuck with it enough to really get a beat on it. Maybe we can both get products to review and then do a review here on the show. That would
Yeah,
be
that's a good
interesting.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good idea.
my other ones are very expensive, so I'll let you go again. You know
Well,
what they
I mean,
already are.
To me, I don't really have too many other tools that I use for recovery. I primarily stick with the massage gun, the lacrosse ball, the foam roller, and then I use my power dot, which is just an electro stim thing that
And
connects to your
those were the
body.
OG ones. Power Dot was the OG, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I've had it for years. I mean, I bought it probably in 2019, and it still works great. I got the pads, everything works awesome, and I love it. I mean, I think those are great for recovery. My wife loves it. She has me hook her up all the time for it. So,
Oh, so that's the eStim device, correct?
yeah. Yep.
Okay, that's what I was trying to think of. Yeah, I've gotten the Amazon versions, and I'm going to tell you what. When I was wrestling, I got the knockoff of these. But
Sure.
when I was wrestling, putting that on your lower back as you're on a plane, or in a rental car, saved me
Mm,
so much pain. And to
yeah.
me, it was like that was the myofascial release that I didn't have time to do with a roller on the road or anything.
Right.
I just put that thing on my lower back and on my neck on every flight, every road trip, even in the hotel. Be after my matches. I used a lot of the one I got. So I'm
Yeah.
with you on that. That's man. If you're somebody that has a physical job like we did and do with wrestling, you got to get an eStim device. And if the
Mm,
Power Dot is 5 years old, spend the money
yeah.
on that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
And
good.
it's portable, so you don't have to check it or do anything like that. You can carry it in your backpack, in your carry on, and you're ready to go.
Yeah. Super small footprint for it. So, all right.
Oh,
So
stuff I'm going to
what are
talk
your
about is
expensive
not
items?
small. No, they are
Yeah.
not small. I'll go with all three at once, and I'll
Yep.
give you my opinion. Um, in order of like, I guess, using it for years and years and years. The number one thing I would say, if you can afford it and you have the space for it and you can eat the electric bill, would be a hot tub.
Mm,
Having a hot tub during my years in WWE, I think extended my wrestling career. Using it when I was home and then going to hotels with a hot tub. Once again, paired with the e-stim and the other recovery, a hot
yeah.
tub to me, like I used it this morning and all the stress just kind of
Mm,
went away. So when we talked, I was actually less stressed, believe it or
yeah.
not. But having a hot tub, and now we have an inflatable one, which is kind of a good option if you're not owning or you plan on moving or you don't want something
Mm,
that's so like right there. I think that would be the number one thing to have, be a hot tub. Number two would be an infrared sauna,
mm,
which I own both right now. I've
yep.
had that for years. Infrared sauna therapy is also paired with, a lot of them have red light therapy and chromotherapy as well. So it's a good device. And the third one, which is disappointing me right now, would have been the cold plunge, which
Mm,
the vacuum pump went on that, and I haven't been able to use it in months.
mm,
But there's an expense added to that besides while the hot tub is around $800, but you
mhm.
can get a cheaper inflatable. The inflatable would be the way I would go. Then you got to talk about the electric bill. So the electric bill for a hot tub is not as much as a cold plunge. One for the sauna is not as much for the cold plunge. I'll tell you why. Because all you got to do is heat up the hot tub, not run the bubbles and the pump all the time, just heat it.
Mm,
That's an
yeah.
expense. The sauna is the least expensive overall for maintenance because when you're not running it, it's not running. When you turn it
Yeah.
on, it heats up, you use it, you turn it off. The cold plunge, especially in Florida, was the most expensive because what do you have to do to a cold plunge?
Sure.
Keep it cold. In
Yeah.
Florida and in a garage that's not climate controlled,
Yeah.
gets expensive.
Sure.
So
Sure.
they
Yeah.
both have a high barrier to entry. Number one most expensive is the cold plunge with the
Mhm.
chiller.
Yeah.
Number two would be the sauna because it's not cheap, but it is cheap to run compared to the cold plunge. The most affordable one to buy would be the inflatable hot tub. And my estimation, not much more to maintain electrical wise or electricity wise than the sauna because all you got to do is keep it warm. But once again, I live in Florida, so it's usually hot, so it's going to stay warmer,
Sure.
without much electricity usage. That's just
Yeah.
my pecking order of the.
Yeah.
But those are the holy grail.
Yeah.
Money is no object recovery devices. But if you have a job, like if if you're some CrossFit person that competes, or you're a
Yep.
wrestler, an athlete, or somebody who has a physical job, I think it's a good investment to get an inflatable hot tub.
Yeah, sure. I would agree with all three of those. I think all three of those are great recovery tools that, if your budget allows, would be worthwhile investments. And where I think we're learning more and more, like hot tubs have been around for a long time, but saunas and cold plunges are becoming a much more popular biohacking thing that people are doing. But it's this so far, everything seems to be pretty legit with what the recovery of those can bring and what they can do to really help you recover. So I wholeheartedly agree with you, and I would love to get those in my house eventually.
Well, let's, hey, we're kind of at the end of the show. So now I want to take this time to talk about how proud I am of you. The fact
Ah,
that you are now getting into the product review business. So you're going to
sure.
combine your already massive, knowledge of supplements, taking that over into now you're a certified CrossFit coach, you're a certified CrossFit nutritionist, and
Yeah.
now you have an affiliate business. You're starting through product reviews with Big Mike Barons. You're going to be
Yep.
getting that True Grit kinetic curve treadmill, which
Yeah.
they've turned me down for numerous times. So congratulations. No, I mean with all sincerity that the fact that you're going to start reviewing products and hopefully create most importantly, give people the information they need to make an
Yeah.
informed consumer decision, but also be able to monetize the neutral, objective information you're going to give at the YouTube channel, and hopefully be able to create another very, very lucrative income stream. That's
Hopefully.
awesome. So you
Yep.
will be getting an inflatable hot tub. You'll probably be getting the sauna and all that stuff soon. So I have
Yeah,
no
someday.
doubt.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. So I think that's it for this episode on recovery tools. I mean, I think that there's all kinds of stuff out there. Don't get caught up in the shiny things and the things that sell you this recovery. There's simple, basic things that you can do. I think we covered the cheap stuff, we covered the expensive stuff, and all of them are going to give you benefit. But there's so much bullshit out there that you can get caught up with buying that just isn't going to cut it. And so, really do your research and make sure that you're getting stuff that's actually legitimate when it comes to getting recovery equipment. So I hope this episode was helpful. I
By
hope it
the
was
way,
beneficial. Yep.
sorry to cut you off.
No,
I
it's
know
fine.
we both got to go. Um, one thing, and we talked about it on a previous episode, and I want to try, and we both should review it, is those grounding products, like
Oh
the mat
yeah.
and stuff. You do grounding
Yes.
already, I do it,
Yes.
but the products, we should reach out to them and see if we can do a review on our
No, that's a good
channels and
idea.
here on the show, because I really do feel like with all this garbage and everything, that
Yeah.
grounding is super important for recovery.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
Sorry,
Yeah, that's a
didn't mean
very
to
good
cut you
idea. No,
off. I
that's
just
great.
thought
It's a good thought. So I hope everybody got some value from this episode. If you did, share it with somebody. Let them know about the Big Fitness Show, trying to reach more men and help more men live healthier every single day. That's the goal here. We want guys like us to just be better versions of themselves. We're trying to be the best version of ourselves every single day, and we're trying to help you do the same. So appreciate you listening. For myself, for Big Stevie Cool, the Draw. This has been the Big Fitness Show. We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks, everybody.
yeah, I didn't have an emotional breakdown. Thank God.